In this video, we're going to go over three things. One, what is traveling for work? What are some of the professions that you can do it in? How does it typically work? Some of the pros, some of the cons, and then kind of a final verdict on where at least I'm at with all of this, considering that I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I thought this was totally applicable because right now, literally waiting for a flight. Now, there's a ton of people in this waiting area, so I'll do the best that I can.
Back down.
Okay, I don't know if you've traveled lately, but airports are insane. Really wanted to get that video actually filmed all done in the airport, but it was too hard. So let's just reset real quick. We're going to talk about is travel work? Travel work? Is work travel worth it? We're going to go over what it is, what are some of the components of it, what are some of the pros, the cons, and my overall verdict after doing this on and off for the past 10 years or so. So let's start with what is work travel. Now, when you're thinking of work travel, yes, it's I have to travel for work, but there's typically some type of line of work that you're going to be doing. And this kind of falls into two buckets. The first bucket is you're visiting either a client or a partner. And if you use that as kind of the umbrella term of what you're doing, that's going to be usually someone in sales, customer success, partnerships, or something in client services. And what I mean by client services, that could be like a PR agency, it could be a ad agency, it could be strategy consulting. Any of those kind of fields typically will have some kind of component of work that's associated to it as well. The second component, which is really more of a response to everything that we've seen in COVID or post COVID, is individuals that were working from home are now having some travel component associated with their job to either A, go in and out of offices, or B, have some kind of on site or off site meet up with their team because the team is remotely located kind of everywhere now. Okay, so those are kind of the two areas that you're going to look at in terms of like why you would be traveling for work. So the next piece is what are the three components of work travel? So there's going to be your airfare, your hotel accommodations, or in some cases like an Airbnb. And the third one is going to be your stipends that's associated with food, transportation, or anything else that might be in there as well. So the first part, airfare. Now, most of the policies that I've seen, it's going to be whatever's the cheapest available in economy, that's going to be what you're going to book. There are some outlying rules. Maybe you're doing something international. Maybe you're a director at a company or a VP of a company. You'll usually see there's something kind of identified within the travel policy that'll outline what conditions an individual can book a business flight. The second piece is your accommodations. Traditionally, this would be your hotels, but with the rise of Airbnb, a lot of companies now also allow that as an option to stay at an Airbnb or a hotel. And then the third piece is going to be really around your food and transportation. So, transportation, that could be things like Lyft and Ubers or rental cars if you need one. And then the other part is your meal stipend. And so, usually, this is some kind of daily allotment, which can be broken down by how much you might get for meals. So, like, let's say it's $60 a day. It'll be 15 for breakfast, 15 for lunch, and maybe $30 for dinner. Or sometimes it's just a daily allotment. Check your overall company policy, but there is some variability when it comes to meal allotments. And then the transportation side that's associated with that, usually there'll be like a preferred company that you could rent the car through, or if it's just Uber and Lyft, then it's Uber and Lyft, and then you can choose which level within Uber and Lyft. That'll usually be outlined within the policy. Okay, what are the pros of work travel? Now, when I first graduated college, the one thing I was looking forward to, besides paying off my student loans, was the ability to go see the world. At the time, I've traveled mostly within the United States, a couple of places, but I was really looking forward to the opportunity of traveling internationally. And that's something that I really, really wanted to do. So, one of the pros that could come with traveling for work is you have the opportunity to see places, sometimes domestically or internationally, that you might not have the opportunity to see otherwise. The second piece is when you do travel often, you can start to build loyalty rewards or like reward programs with different airlines and hotel companies. So that's one thing that I would recommend is sign up for every loyalty program that you can because there's really no downside to getting some kind of status or credit on any of these companies, which maybe down the line can qualify you for an upgrade. And that's kind of the second part to it, right? So you're traveling a lot. If you're booking on, let's say, an economy flight, you're booking the lowest status hotel. If you have status with that airline or that status with that hotel, you're more than likely going to get an upgrade to a better seat on the flight, which, if you're super fortunate, could be something like a business class or first class seat. Or if you're at a hotel, maybe that could be a suite upgrade. Any of those things are some really nice perks that over time, after traveling a little bit, will definitely like kind of unlock the next level of work travel. The third piece, it's really kind of off this second one about building loyalty rewards programs, but because these reward programs are tied to you as an individual, you're going to be able to benefit from those rewards when you travel personally. So, whenever you have vacation on your own or any kind of weekend trips, if you're staying with any of those hotel brands or flying on that airline, you're going to be able to get those upgrades. And like for airlines, what I've seen is some of them even like other people that you book travel tickets with, they get to take the benefit of your loyalty program. So not only do you get upgraded, but the person you're traveling with or people that you're traveling with can also get upgraded as well. And that's pretty sweet. What are the cons to work travel? The cons to work travel, well, the first one that just comes to mind immediately is if you don't like to travel and you're a homebody, then traveling for work is probably not going to be your thing. The second thing is depending on the type of work that you're in and the frequency of which you're traveling, it could sometimes be really difficult to make plans back at home, right? You're not there. You're going to be in a hotel, you're going to be on a plane, you might be overseas. So if there's stuff that comes up kind of spontaneously, you might end up having to respond to a lot of your friends like, "Hey, actually not in town right now." And you're going to need to plan a little bit more rather than being more spontaneous. The third thing, not having a solid home base can sometimes get a little tiring. There were some of my old colleagues, I remember they were paying for rent in New York City and it's not cheap there. But and then on top of that, they had a client that they were basically living at a hotel for 2 months at a time. And I remember having a conversation with them and they're just like, it'd be nice just to stay at home in the place that I'm spending so much rent at. And so that's a piece that can over time just kind of become like a little bit of a taxing feeling just because you're always out and about or you're living out of a suitcase or in a hotel, right? Like it's not your own place. And I don't know about you, but there's no place like home when you're able to just lay your head on the pillow and there's just the like comfort that comes with that. So what is my verdict on is work travel worth it? First and foremost, I would have to say yes, it is completely worth it. And I'm not saying that because throughout my time traveling for work, I've been able to see places like the Bean in Chicago or the Taj Mahal in India. It's something beyond that, that I think that there's the experience that comes with travel that makes it all worthwhile. And it's not the most convenient, but there's so much that comes to it just as like experience, memories, things like that. So the first piece is it just adds a different dimension to your day to day. And sure, you can go on vacation once a week, once out of the year, or maybe twice out of the year. Maybe if you're super fortunate, three weeks out of the year. But that's a little bit different, right? That's like very planned. You're going to be going to a certain thing. You're kind of doing this disconnection rather than this like integration into your life of like having these other experiences that's outside of the home office, maybe outside your hometown, where you're able to kind of incorporate it with the work that you're doing and build experiences off of that. The second piece that kind of builds a little bit off of that part is I just believe that it makes you a little bit sharper. And what I mean by sharper is kind of when you fall into these routines, you kind of start to just go into a lull and kind of forget about things. But when you're traveling for work, something's always new that's going to have to be kind of addressed head on. And I do believe that it builds a little bit of resiliency in an individual to, balance work. Maybe you're doing calls in the car. Maybe you're meeting people up at one-off Starbucks or things like that. Depending on the type of work that you have to do, you have to kind of like have this constant problem solving that I don't think really comes up as often if you're just going to and from your home office or the office that's in town or things like that. Just that back and forth, that back and forth, you miss that component. And for me, I've been working from home for the past 10 years or so, at least to some capacity, where I've had a component of being from home. And I get cabin fever sometimes. So traveling for work is a nice break to that routine. All right, so in summary, we went through some of the pros, we went through some of the cons, where I'm personally at after experiencing this work hybrid life for the past 10 years. Super curious about what your thoughts are on, do you travel for work? Do you like it, don't like it? Or if you don't travel for work, would you actually be interested in trying some of this stuff out? Comment below with your thoughts, and I'll definitely make sure to respond. Now, this is day 3 of the 12-day challenge. If you've been keeping up, the 12-day challenge is a challenge that I put onto myself where I'm going to post every day for 12 days just to really get into the routine of posting, filming, editing, cutting it, posting, everything like that, and seeing if this whole YouTube thing is really for me. So if you're part of the 12-day challenge, hey, what's up? Leave a comment below. And if you want to start your own, feel free to check out that video. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'll see you in the next one.